Hello, we have another Saturday food support group. Hi, everybody. And today I just wanted to take a minute to talk to you about the mountain that is ahead of us. And for some of us, we are standing at the foot of the mountain, and it is gigantic and it is impossible. It's absolutely impossible for our brains to wrap our minds around conquering this mountain. And all I have to tell you is that you're not supposed to conquer the mountain today. You're supposed to take one step. And so if you're sitting there and you're having just debilitating mental illness and depression and inundated with negative feedback from your friends and family, and then you're getting signs in your body where you're having pain in your body and you can't walk, you can't talk, you're getting your blood work back and it's all wrong. It's okay. You have to just take one step. That is literally the only thing that you have to do. No one is asking you to conquer this mountain today. And what we do is we sit at the foot of the mountain and we look at the mountain and we just go, I can't conquer the mountain today, so I'm not going to do nothing. I'm not going to do anything because I can't do it today. How silly is that? We have this mountain in front of us. We have this journey to go on for our health, for our process. All we have to do is participate in one step. Look at your life. Look at what you're doing with your physical health, with your mental health, with your emotional and spiritual health, and look at one step you can take today. I challenge all of you, those that are in this meeting, those that are watching the replay, to talk about one step that you can take and even put it in the chat or raise your hand and let's talk about it. Or put it in the comments of this video, because there is one step that your inner clarity knows that you can take today. And that's all you have to do. And then tomorrow, you can do the same experiment. You can do the same exercise. And you can say, okay, there's one step I can do today. And then you do that step. God, the universe, life does not ask us to conquer mountains in one day. It asks us to take one step a day. And so I encourage you guys and challenge you to take one step and let me know what that is. All right. Just wanted to share that with you guys. To start off with, I would love for Kelly to share what she is experiencing this week, so that we can discuss that as well. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hi, Emily. Thank you. I love what you just said. And it's funny because it brings up something I've been thinking of recently. Well, for like the last 2 years, actually, because that concept of like waiting or when is my healing going to be here, anything like that has been something on my mind for like 20 years. So it's one of the things that I've really grappled with, like, when is my life going to start? You know, when am I going to have my teenage moments that weren't here, my early 20s or my early 30s, that kind of thing, only to realize like I could never, quote, get that back, and needing to confront the emotional side of that. And then one of the processes of doing that helped me to take a look at, oh, wow, maybe it's not even about conquering this mountain. I actually have to realize I am the mountain. I am the mountaineer. I am the equipment I'm trying to use to scale the mountain. Like, I am everything. And so what if I can shift into any aspect of this experience of being the majestic mountain when I just want to take in the view, of being, you know, the mountaineer who wants to actually have the challenge of overcoming illness and scaling the mount, you know, the personal Mount Everest. I love that. So thank you for sharing that, because that's what it's bringing up in my mind. Which
Well,
is
and
deeply
we
resonant.
get invited into that
Yeah.
process. We get
Yeah,
invited. There's no place that is off limits to us. We get
exactly.
invited into that experience.
Yeah. And I love that. And also like what you were sharing, I don't know if it was before the recording, or during it, but the challenges that we face when we're on this kind of basically solo journey, and we are co-creators, and we do have experiences with other people, but often it is kind of in defiance of what loved ones might think is best for us. And how do we cope with that? And so that's one of the things that I've been dealing with in the last couple of weeks, like making personal food or abstaining from food choices that in no way are resonant to the people around me and loved ones, and have triggered so much fear in them and residual fear in myself in the last 20 plus years. I'm now coming into balance with that. And my family and loved ones are as well. But what's interesting is now that's opened up what I really want, which is the potential for everything. Like transcendence is kind of the word that keeps coming to me. And so simultaneously, I want to experience what I feel like is the attachment to purity and everything else that I feel like I need to achieve through certain means, or have felt like I need to achieve through certain means. But that seems to be in direct contrast to my desire to connect with loved ones, which is often, unascending loved ones. One of the ways that we often connect is through food and through cultural experience. And so that challenge of emotional connection and literally wanting to prepare foods for them and sharing that joint experience. But like yesterday, I've never made hummus before, and I made hummus and it was amazing. And man, am I inflamed today. It was like, oh my gosh, like I gained 40 pounds of like inflammation overnight. And I'm also facing wanting to do a water fast this coming week. And I'm like, how do I bring all this together in a way that's in harmony and balance for me, and not continuing to, as I had done before, feel like I'm banging my head against the wall or trying to get other people to do what I want to do, or, to feel that support. So that's one of the things I'm realizing when I fast. Depending on the type of fast, I can feel amazing, it's just pure clarity, bliss. My symptoms decrease tremendously. And the moment I shift back to foods, it's different than it used to be. It used to be I would crave the fruits, which again, I know this group is a little different. I'm mainly drawn to
No,
raw vegan.
you're safe. You're safe to
Yeah.
talk about your
So
experience.
regardless of whatever type of food, you feel resonant to, whether it's, raw carnivore, raw vegan, whatever. It's like, then it's opening up this desire for emotional connection, which I noticed is manifesting as desire for foods that I would never even eat 20 years ago. So I'm making better forms of them, but I'm still making like homemade versions, organic versions of like Reese's peanut butter cups, and enjoying that, but it's triggering symptoms. And I'm like, okay, what do I need to take a look at here, as far as I desire to connect, and maybe it's overindulgence because I'm trying to really connect with those people on a certain level that they're not ready for yet. And yet I'm channeling that into my connection with food because that's what feels tangible right now. As I call in these new connections that are resonant on the energetic level. And so that's one of the things that's come to the forefront. It's like really deep diving again and again into new layers and depths of this energetic and emotional experience with what we call food and human connection. And I don't even know if I don't even think I have a specific question, but it's just a thought of contemplation for the moment.
Yeah, yeah. And it is something to really, really assess what is actually going on.
Yeah.
Am I just shifting from my cultural programming? My
Mhm.
cultural programming says you nurture those around you by making them food, and
Yes.
you connect with those around you by eating food with them. And
Yes.
so we have to step aside from that and say, is this true?
Right. Like
Is
food,
this
it's like we
really
equate food.
true?
Right. Like food is love and like kind of our culture. I'm part Italian. My name and my looks don't look pure Irish, but my insides are all Italian. So it's like, mangia pasta, like, and realizing, well, that's just an expression of unconditional love. It's not the food. The food is something beautiful we can experience, like any form of sensuality, whether it's physical touch, words of affirmation, anything like that. And that's what I'm really realizing. It's like, oh, it's just coming back to the essence of it. Especially, it's like, how can I be somebody who wants to dive into making, like today, I'm going to make guacamole for them. Like there's no way my body can handle that right now. But I really am excited to make guacamole with them. And then, that's going to be for like, say, my dad, and then apple pie for my mom, and loving that and coming back into balance with something I embodied years ago, which is it's not about the food.
Mm.
It's about the experience and the energy of it and the resonance and being okay with. This is the other thing I was realizing, noticing the people pleasing energies and the
Oh, yeah.
overindulgence as a counterbalance to feeling deeply unnourished by the lack of equivalent reciprocity in the energetics of what I desire. And so needing to take a look at where I'm overdoing it, usually in the form of people pleasing, and to really look at that, the vibrational essence of that, to bring myself back into balance so that it, and this is the other thing I'm looking at, which I know I'm all over the place, but it's like, I truly feel that once we kind of get to a beautiful, kind of almost like excavated level of purity, healing, that we can sit there and eat, even say a McDonald's fry, and not have a massive blow up, because we can transmute those energies to what we need and leave it at that. If we sit there and binge eat the whole, say, McDonald's fries or whatever, we might have a physiological reaction to that.
Yes.
But it's more about, how are we engaging with this? So it's like, I was talking with a loved one recently about this, who was just doing a lot of listening. And I was like, well, I want to simultaneously go through tremendous levels of water fasting, because that feels really called, breatharian style chronic living. I've always felt drawn to. But on the flip side, I feel so drawn to the physicality of food and the energetics. And so it's like, how can my mom actually said, she's like, well, can't you have both? And she doesn't really, she hasn't really delved into this world. So in my mind still, it was like, no, it's complete opposites. I was like, but wait, what if she's right? What if we can experience all that we want to experience? It's just how we engage with these concepts. And like you said, the programming that has perhaps kept us limited.
Well, and we have to realize who and what we are.
Yeah.
We are not these bodies.
Right.
We are literally an energy source.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like, and I know this is really out there. I know that you guys might not be tracking with this, but if you really think about it and you imagine that we are this energy source, then we are not human beings. We are not these
Right.
physical bodies. And
Yeah.
so it is literally the culture of Earth to eat these foods, to eat food at all.
Yeah.
If we are an energy source, we do not need physical food.
Right. Exactly.
And so I'm not telling you guys to stop eating. I am not telling you guys to stop eating. I'm just saying that we put so much, and we literally do that. We tag these experiences as necessary. We
Right.
tag these experiences as, this is the way that I nurture my family. This is the way that I show love.
Mm-hmm.
And so I encourage us to release from that, basically that idea, and to say, how is another way that I can show love? How is another way that I can nurture those around me who I love and get creative with that. And I say that because I've had to do that. It has been quite a journey, but it has been so beautiful to know that my love and my nurturing of my family is not attached to food. And it does not require me making food, them eating food, and me eating food. That's an aspect of our life. We are still humans. we still eat food. I still make food. They still eat it. But that's not where I connect with them. That's not where we really energetically have that exchange. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's getting me thinking too, like last week, I was really like realizing earlier this week, like, wow, this overindulgence has permeated every aspect of my life. And as previously mentioned, why that was, and identifying these people pleasing behaviors, and then also taking a deeper look to realize, oh, because I'm overcompensating for basically lack of self-love, realizing I am enough just as I am, even if I didn't completely heal all of my symptoms or this or that, and I die tomorrow or I transcend it tomorrow or whatever. It's like, I am enough. So even every time I go to visit somebody, even if it was just 2 seconds to pop up, say hello, drop something off, I would bring a chocolate bar. I would bring something I made. Like, it was way too much. And I'm like, I'm overextending in ways that aren't good for me, that are taxing me in ways that I frankly can't afford to give at the moment, whether energetically, financially, etc. And I'm like, this is just perpetuating a deficit that I'm actually trying to heal. And it was like, oh, it was like one of the aspects of transcendence that I see is kind of like, we need to stabilize where we're at. And it's kind of like that infinity symbol. And once we bring that into harmony, back into quote the zeros, the 0 point field, then we can ascend a bit, stabilize, and then we need some time there. So I see it as kind of this beautiful ascending infinity symbol that eventually kind of will blossom into what some call the flower of life, etc. Seed of life, flower of life. And something Ricardo, I believe, was saying earlier before the call, I was thinking about, because one of the things I realized I'm just now on the cusp of shifting out of is this sheer terror at actually healing. Because first of all, and that's like a whole nother conversation, but it's like, who am I without my symptoms and my illness, let alone, even if they disappear for a day, a week, a month, a year, what if they come back? And I was diagnosed with plaque, not lesions in my brain, and a bunch of other stuff with my Lyme disease particular journey. But I've still deal with symptoms that seem to come up out of nowhere. And it's one of these things of needing to confront my fear of even experiencing anything that I think that I've healed, and what that might come up. Like, what if I do experience symptoms and maybe it's not because anything else needs to be healed or cleared or whatever. It's just the emotional residue of realizing, oh, even if I have my symptoms, I'm okay. I'm enough. This isn't permanent. So it's kind of like the last stages of that level of transcendence, it feels like, of that healing process, is confronting that emotional fear of everything you've ever experienced coming back. So the Parkinson's, like tremors, the this, the that, the weakness, the brain fog, the inability to function, let alone even breathe at times, is just, can be, what's the word I'm looking for?
Paralyzing.
Terrifying. That's the word. I was like, what's the word? Literally paralyzing.
Yeah. And honestly, I really think I always take this, and it's so funny because I have many different people that come to me and they're like, yeah, but you don't know me. And I'm like, are you a human being? And did you live to this day? And are you breathing in air? Yeah. I know this one thing. You've survived. You've survived absolute. I mean, the impossibility of us to be existing in this moment is you can't even wrap your mind around it. You cannot even
Right.
wrap your mind around how many things could have killed you, could
Yeah.
have ended you, could have made it so that you did not see the next stage, and you're here. So
Yes.
that tells me that no matter what you have gone through, if my MS came back to tomorrow, would I be upset? Oh my goodness. Yes. Would I be devastated? Yeah. But I would say, wait, I was here before.
Yeah.
I can go through this again. I know it's possible. And that's why I think it's so important to hear the stories of other people, because we can say, oh, they're a human being. I'm a human being. They resolved this. I can resolve this. It's realizing what is possible, not sitting there underneath this rock going, oh my gosh, this is horrible. This is horrible. This is going to continue to be horrible. We can recognize that there is, like the mountain, there is just one step that we got to take today, and that's it.
Yeah, and it's funny, just before this call, the word, like sometimes I'll just get images, words, whatever, intuitively flashing at me. And the word that came back was resiliency. And
Yeah.
really to bring it back down to this super grounded human level, not even talking ascension, et cetera, is like like the resiliency of the human spirit. And then
Amazing.
that embodied is incredible.
We're all
And
superheroes, like for real.
exactly, exactly.
For real.
um,
Like, oh my
yeah.
gosh. I mean, all of the negative things that have been spoken over us, all of the
Yes.
negative thoughts that we've created ourselves, all of the things that have come against us, and we're still standing or sitting or breathing. We're still here. Like, we're still
Right.
here. So we
Well, and even
win.
if we're existing, like, because I would define that, I'm like, well, I'm existing, but not living. That was kind of my own like
True.
way of quantifying how I would feel to family and friends who couldn't quite grasp, my experience. And I'm like, and even now I have appreciation for existing during moments when I'm like, you know what, I realize most people wouldn't have even been able to hold on to that existence.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I'm here for a reason, you're here for a reason, and we're all here for a reason. And even if we leave tomorrow, like there is so much value to the space that you're holding here. So thank you again. Like it's really beautiful and amazing. So I don't want to take up any
Absolutely.
more time, but
Yeah, we could talk forever, but thank you so
oh
much,
yeah.
Kelly, for all of that. I really enjoy. And then Rosa's talking in the chat, so go.
Yeah, I need to catch up
She,
on all the chats.
I know. I wish she wasn't working. I would have her join in this conversation, but yeah, go look in the chat. Rosa's
I will.
definitely experienced that as well. So next, I would love to hear from Ricardo. You had a topic that you wanted us to discuss, and go ahead, Ricardo.
Yes, it's more of a question, but yeah, you can also put it as a
Yeah, you're
topic.
right. A question. I'm sorry.
Um, yeah, so I've been on the carnivore diet. This I started it last year, stopped a little while, and then I started doing it again. I reckon the first time I was on it, it helped me with the lesions that I was developing on my brain. I have MS. It all starts there, and it spreads all around the body. And and yes, we're all different as well. Sometimes it may take longer to see other results. It has affected even my spinal cord, my lumbar area, everything in all across my spine. But it may take longer. I do believe that the essential would be the brain, getting the lesions done with, and then you know I'll continue going on with this, doing carnivore, and hope that I start to see the results with my walking and all of that, because that's currently the problem I'm having. Yeah, but I'm not going to throw in the towel again. It's a huge leap. It's a huge step to have rectified the problems going on with with the brain. I feel more lucid. I feel more energetic. I feel more positive. I don't have the brain fog. I have none of that. So that's good. And we need to savor what's good and not let let us be held back with what has yet to come. And
Yes.
I'm still optimistic, but I do have those moments, like, my goodness, I have to use my cane at times, but it's a process. It's a process. I'm sure of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've come so far, Ricardo. I appreciate you so much for being so transparent. And I know it can be um, frustrating to wait. And I think we have a distortion in our perspective of time. And unfortunately, this is the world we live in, and we live in space and time. And so that's how we operate. But whenever we come into really realizing that the things that are coming to us are coming, they are absolutely coming, and that you're on the right track. That's what I love about what you said, was that you were like, I know that I'm on the right track. I'm going to keep taking one step, or, one day at a time, and continue that. So thank you so much for that, Ricardo. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And thank you, Emily, as always.
No problem. No problem. So Monica had something that she wanted to add. Go ahead, Monica.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Last couple of weeks, I had been experiencing a foot that was swelling and becoming increasingly painful. So Thursday, I went to the doctor, and I was a little concerned when the doctor started in with the food questions. How much seafood are you eating? How much red meat are you eating? And wasn't exactly honest on the red meat part, because I was like, where is he going? He was thinking gout and uric acid and whatever. And I had a slight flare up with gout just prior to having gastric bypass surgery, which will be 18 years ago next month. And I had not had it since. I pretty much knew that it wasn't gout. But he tested me for gout, and he tested me for a possible blood clot, and of course took an x-ray. My foot wasn't fractured or broken in any way, but I got a call from the doctor yesterday while I was at work, because I was hard-headed and wouldn't take off when he wanted me to, and said that my blood work came back elevated for a possible clot, and get to the ER to have an ultrasound. So I did. I don't have a blood clot. Knew that also. I never have a blood clot, but we test these things. And so instead, I got a boot and a walker and a referral to podiatry. But I'm sharing this to say that Thursday night, I was watching Nutrition with Judy Cho's stories on Instagram, and she was sharing her 10-year wedding anniversary, and she put up a scripture. And this is from Ephesians 5:22-33 that she posted. And 29 says, and of course, this is in relationship to marriage, but this particular line struck me. It says, after all, no one ever hated their own body, but they feed and care for their body just as Christ does the church. And I was mind blown. Like, I had to go back and read that several times. Like, what? No one has ever hated their body? What? And so that had been on my mind, and it had been resonating with me. And when I went to the ER and I was taking myself in, I grabbed my entire lunch bag with that mind of, you have not eaten yet today, and it's noon, and you don't know how long you're going to be here. And I left carrying that same lunch bag, not have eaten a thing because I forgot, to ever ask anybody, could I eat? And because even though there was a time I think I felt hungry, it didn't matter. And what resonated with me is, even though I'm having a problem with a part of my body right now, I have been caring for my body for months, eating this way. And because I cared for my body, it was okay to miss a meal. It was okay not to eat. My body was still nourished enough to carry me through whatever is going on right now. We'll find a solution and we'll fix it. And my body will continue to heal. But more importantly, my mind is at a space where I'm caring for my body. Even if I can't see it through weight loss, even if I still have a malady and it's not functioning perfectly, I can see it, I can take care of it, and the rest of my body can serve me well because I'm caring for it. And for that reason, yesterday, I could love my body just as it was because I cared for it. And because even though there's a part of me that carried in that lunch and thought about food before my health, when it came down to it, I only thought about my health and caring for me and not the food. And I got around to eating when I had a moment to eat, and it was okay. And I don't know who she is. I'm happy to know her. I'm happy to meet her. And I hope she sticks around, because that's not me, but I'm just happy that I could recognize that. And I'm happy that God presented me with that scripture and gave me the mindset to be where he needed me to be, to hear it and know that I was living it. So I just kind of wanted to share that, because I know we've been mentioning today just the emotional side of things, the mental side of things. And, this is not the 3-day weekend I plan to sit around with my ankle elevated above my head looking ridiculous, but that's okay. I have a 3-day weekend to do that so I can go back to school and get my kids through finals and get to summertime. So I just wanted to share that mental, emotional part that happened with me. And if that, scripture maybe resonates with anybody, again, it was Ephesians 5:19. And thank you for letting me share.
It was actually Ephesians 5:29.
29, sorry. Okay. Thank you.
But yes, that is so beautiful. And I love that opportunity that we have, that we do get to nurture ourselves, So thank you so much for that perfect example. I really appreciate that, Monica. And I believe that girl's here to stay. I like her too. Let's keep her around.
Yes.
Becky, you had a question. You're muted.
I'm hitting all kinds of buttons and things are going crazy. Hi, you guys. I just kind of have an update too with what's going on, and it's interesting. We're talking about emotions. And so I was going to say one thing quickly about how I reacted. So back right into my old patterns really unexpectedly. But then I also wanted to really just mention that I have an opportunity to reach out to others this week, next couple weeks from now. So anyway,
let's just do one.
Yeah. Well, just to get to the point is I caught myself being upset with my husband. And when I was mad, I went straight. I took a walk, but I was by a store and I went straight and started to want to buy some junk food. And so that was like, what am I doing? I don't want to go back into that kind of of a way of dealing with things. So that was good that was put a halt to that. But then as I'm listening to everybody talk, one thing I've been trying to decide if I can do this coming week is we have an opportunity from our church to serve in the Johnny charity, where I would be asked to go and be a volunteer for a week at a camp. I can't see myself, so I don't know what I'm saying here. To volunteer at a camp for a week to help families have a vacation that have children with disabilities. And I would be the buddy for a child with disabilities. And so that sounds like a lot of fun. I used to do that occasionally on a 1-day respite. And so I'm just kind of like afraid. I want to go help to reach out to give other families a vacation, but I'm concerned that it's going to throw me into it eating, because we lived there for the week in the redwoods, this wonderful camp. And then I'm just concerned. I can bring my own air fryer and my own ice chest, so I know I can make it work. So on one hand, I'm positive, and on the other hand, I'm thinking, well, is it really going to bother me if I just trust God with whatever's going to be there? I'll just pick what I think is appropriate for me to eat. So it's kind of like, and then I'm also a little worried if I can keep up with the challenge physically, because I still am feeling much better. I have use in my right hand, but I am walking with a cane. So there's just all these emotions like, should I sign up? Should I go? I had hoped that my best friend was going to come with me, but she can't come. So that was my security blanket. So I'm kind of trying to reach out to help others, but I'm worried about if it's going to compromise my health, and can I keep up with my vigorous,
I think it's really a valid question. And I think I go back always to that, the concept of we need to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first. And so maybe a transitional serving that you can do it for a couple hours. I think an entire week sounds like, and I'm being really transparent with you right now, Becky, I couldn't do that. I could not go, oh, I'll just eat whatever you guys serve, and I'll go for an entire week outside of my house and I will serve. I need to just do it in like 2 hours at a time, 3 hours at a time. So I would encourage you to find another opportunity, because your food is so important. But ultimately you need to make your own decision.
Right. Sure. Cause I thought, well, I have an air fryer, and when we've traveled last year extensively, we just pretty much brought our food with us and did everything that we need to do. But then there was a lot of opportunities where we did slip. I mean, I didn't have to slip because I had food with me, but when everybody else was eating that, I'm like, well, I'll have some of that,
So it depends on how strong you are. And so
Right.
You wouldn't go, if you were an alcoholic, you wouldn't go put yourself in a bar.
No.
No,
Right.
You would know I'm an alcoholic. If you were a heroin addict, you wouldn't go downtown onto the streets where the heroin, addicts are, and go, oh, we're just going to hang out. I'm not going to shoot up, So it depends on where you want to protect your health. And only you can navigate that. Only you can make those choices and those decisions to know when you need to put the oxygen mask on yourself first.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about it, because the other part of this is I feel too, is like when I'm helping people who are probably have a lot harder, difficult times than I do. Not that anybody's difficulty should be rated as who's harder or not. They're just having a difficult time and they need help too. That, sometimes that blesses me beyond compare, because I'm not focusing just on my own self. So I'm still trying to decide, but it's good to hear everybody else's opinion. And I appreciate your guidance there about the oxygen mask.
Yeah, no problem. And unfortunately, whenever we have gone through these health challenges and we recognize that we respond to sugar and highly processed foods, we have to protect ourselves. So thank you, Becky. I appreciate that. Awesome. So does anyone else have a question or a topic that they want to discuss for the rest of the meeting? No? All right. Well, I thank you guys so much for these meetings. It's so incredible to be able to have these conversations and to connect with you guys. I am just eternally grateful for the year and a half plus, or however long it's been that we've been having these meetings. It just really blesses me so much. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next Saturday.